Optics on handguns are becoming more and more popular. In fact, we're going away from even optics readies to an optic cut is pretty much required nowadays for any new handgun, or something where it should be at least the option to have for the user. Now, 10 years ago, that wasn't really the case. We had pretty much the only option you do is you can custom cut your slide to different optics, and a lot of custom Glocks and things like that were coming out where you had different companies who would cut your slide for whichever optic you picked out. But then you went on to an optics ready kind of platform where a lot of different handguns came out with a standard option. Like Smith & Wesson's, for example, came with a standard option. My old Compact 2.0 is just a blank slide, no optic cut at all. Or you can go and upgrade and pay a little bit more for the optics ready model, which comes with a variety of plate kits. And of course, that kind of goes into today's market as well, where handguns of all different types come with different plates, or you can order them separately. We have to either pay, or you can do a rebate option when you get the handgun, like the Walther here. But there's still some aftermarket options out there that I think are far superior than the optic plates you can just get from these companies when you pick up your handgun. For example, Calculated Kinetics, right here. I found out about them maybe a couple of years ago when I first picked up my Ahrex Delta M. Actually, I was talking with Tactical Toolbox about how much I disliked the polymer plates that came with the Ahrex Delta M. Now, this is their Gen 2, so it's optics cut. It's a cheaper model. It's a very affordable handgun. Excellent handgun. Everything's been unloaded, by the way, on the table. Fantastic handgun. But it came with a plate kit with different cuts for different types of plates. This one here is from Siley. Haven't done a review on this yet, but it's their CAT. It's their micro, RMSC style plate right there for that mounting solution for it. And what's different about this was it came with polymer plates. Now, normally you'd be like, oh great, it comes with a plate, it's fine, let's run with it. But polymer, for example, flexes when it gets heated up, when it runs that slide back and forth so many times. And if you Loctite the optic, I actually was having optics starting to wiggle constantly and always had to crank them back down. So naturally, it's not a terrible thing to have if you're not going to shoot it a whole lot, but if you want to run your handgun, especially if you want to run it for any kind of concealed carry option for self-defense or a self-defense handgun around the house, you're going to want to make sure that that optic is sighted in and it's not loose and you're ready to go when you need it. So in comes Calculated Kinetics here. These guys are awesome. They're making machined in-house 7075 aluminum hard anodized plates for all different types of handguns, including the 3 on the table here. And what's different is, for example, I'll show you. Here's that polymer plate. Hard to tell the difference, but this is kind of the first thing that I picked up was polymer versus aluminum. Obviously, it's almost the same exact cut, which is fine. So this is cut designed for these smaller optics. Good to go, right? Here's the old cover for that Ahrex Delta. So that's the standard plate. If you want to just replace your plate, if you want something that's a little bit cut more specific to a particular optic, they offer a lot of varieties of optics. And you can use the code GEAR10 over at their site, calculatedkinetics.us, I believe. GEAR10 gets you 10% off. Now enter something a little bit different, and I think is really kind of a game changer. So right here is a Walther plate. Now you can order these for free from Walther. You can get a rebate when you get your handgun in. Here is a PDP unloaded, of course. Fantastic handgun. I have not done a full review on it yet. I've been kind of running it here and there with different setups here. I did replace the iron sights, and then of course got this new Dogtag, D-O-G-T-A-G, Dogtag from Calculated Kinetics. And what you'll notice is this is cut form to the Walther PDP. And not only that, but when you're holding up the Walther mount versus the mount that comes with this new Dogtag here, it is night and day how you're gonna have more gaps when you're running that Walther. Now, a gap isn't that big of a deal, except if you think about having spaces where you can get things caught in, you can get dirt, debris, whatever, caught in these gaps. You might want something less generic and something more cut specific to your optic. And not only that, but this actually has a little bit of protection built in. The Dogtag is the next line up from their normal mounting solutions from Calculated Kinetics, but this is cool because this has a front ledge right here designed, of course, around that slide that we said earlier. But what's different is this ledge allows you to get on to any kind of barrier a little bit easier without hitting the optic. So you can run it on a barrier like that and run it on the plate, which is already screwed in nice to the slide itself. You don't have to hit the optic on the front there, but also things like all that backsplash when the round goes off, all that dust and debris and junk that comes flying back, comes back towards that optics lens, and eventually you need to clean that off. Well, this Dogtag helps a little bit kind of deflect some of that away, because just high enough on these newer versions of this Dogtag was just high enough to kind of clear that a little bit and protect your lens. And most likely, if you did have a couple rounds that maybe the casing flew out, and sometimes I've seen them where casings fly out occasionally and will hit the lens on these optics, that should help potentially deflect it. Now, of course, this is a little bit older model here, but this is a little bit beefier of a handgun. Now, this is a Canik SFX. This is their whiteout. This is their Gen 1 whiteout too. So this has the iron sights, but when you put an optic plate on here, it does come with these really chunky optic plates that go on here. It goes and eliminates that rear sight. So this is kind of an older design, kind of that optics ready era that we were talking about from years ago. This is like pre-pandemic basically, right? This is pretty far from where we are today, because nowadays we want to have that backup iron sights and even that 1/3 co-witness, which is exactly what this is right here. But this right here is cut for that RMR for a hollow sun. Now this is a Dogtag, but it's a much beefier Dogtag because it has the material to do so, just because how high this optic sits up anyways, even with the plates that come with it from Canik back then. So this is a little bit beefier of a Dogtag, and kind of compare and see that right here. This is gonna help you even more so with a lot of that debris and that blast coming off of the rounds that come out from that casing there, and also potentially a casing bouncing off there. And then of course you have even more of a ledge. You can rack it off if you need to. And of course, Calculated Kinetics, again, all made in the USA. And I've been upgrading my handguns with the plates as I need, as I find new models. And they're of course becoming even more prevalent in the market. They're watching out for like the Glock MOS and things like that. They're looking for Smith & Wessons, for Springfields. They're trying to adapt to different handguns coming out, and it's just a small US company that trying to make everything in-house, and I love to see it. Again, Gear 10 gets you 10% off the website. Check them out. I really do love what they're doing. They even have some of the random gear and tools and things like that on the site as well. So they're doing some great things for the market. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything from CalculatedKinetics.us, I know the guys real well, known them for a couple of years now, and just hit them down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Until then, be safe at the range, train hard, and I'll see you in the next review.